everybody. Erev Tov, it's Maura Jess. Just making a video to check in, give you some resources, some things that you can do as Passover approaches. It was great to see all of the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders via Zoom classroom. We got almost 100% turnout. That was great. I'm glad to see that the kids are still interested. I hope that everybody is having as good of a time at home as they possibly can, and that everybody's staying safe and healthy. Because Pesach is approaching, I wanted to really give you some information that could help you kind of expand your learners' knowledge of Passover. A lot of people think that Passover is just about matzah and the Seder plate, but actually the most important part of Passover is telling the story. The Hebrew word for that is magid, and it's part of the Seder. The word Seder, of course, means order. So when you sit, whether you're doing a virtual Seder or an in-person Seder with your, immediate family this year, the most important part for your learner, for you as a family, is to tell the story. So there are a variety of ways you can do that. I will be sending links to the various versions and things you can do to tell the story that will make it fun for younger learners and more engaging for learners who are closer to middle school. So there should be a nice variety of things that you can try. And since you all know your learners best, you can try out any of those. Excuse me, I'm losing my words. You can try out any of those different versions and see what works best for you guys. I also wanted to share, before I chant the 4 questions, please forgive the fact that I'm going to be the one chanting them, but you can find the 4 questions, all of your learners who have this book, in your companion Siddur. It's also very easy to find the 4 questions, both in Hebrew and transliteration online. I would stay away from anything that looks like it's Chabad or a Christian website for the 4 questions, but I will also be sending links directly to the 4 questions. But just so you are aware, if your learner has this book, it's literally the last page. It's right here. So I'm going to chant them in case your learner wants to hear me chant it, practice along. The beauty of this being a video is that your learner can replay it and replay it and replay it and practice chanting along with it. Because there is a lot of repetition in the 4 questions, it's actually relatively easy to learn as compared to some of the other brachot that are a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to chant, and then after I chant the 4 questions, or 4 answers, as some people call them, I'm going to break it down for you so that you as parents know what the 4 questions are specifically and what they're about, so that you can talk to your learners about them. Now, I also covered the 4 questions in both of the Zoom classroom sessions for the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, and I will also be doing that for the kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders this Sunday. That Zoom link is going to be coming to you as well. So without further ado, I'm going to chant the 4 questions for you. Please forgive the fact that I am not a cantor or a cantorial soloist. I will do my best. This is on page 64 of the Companion Siddur. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol halelot, mikol halelot, shebechol halelot, anu achlim chametzu matzah, chametzu matzah, halayla hazeh, kulo matzah, halayla hazeh, kulo matzah. Second question. Shebechol halelot, anu ochlim she'ar yirakot, she'ar yirakot, halayla hazeh, maror, maror, halayla hazeh, maror, maror. Third question. Shebechol halelot ein anu matbilin afilu pa'am echat, afilu pa'am echat, Halayla hazeh, halayla hazeh, shetei fe'amim. Halayla hazeh, halayla hazeh, shetei fe'amim. Fourth question, last one. Shebechol halelot anu ochlim bein yoshvin uvein misubim. Vein yoshvin uvein misubim. Halayla hazeh, kulanu mesubim. Halayla hazeh, kulanu mesubim. So those were the 4 questions. Thank you for bearing with me. The first question, Shebechol halilot anu ochlim chametz umatzah. Chametz is leavened bread. That's the Hebrew word for leavened bread. Matzah is obviously matzah. So the first question is about why on this night is it different? Why do we not just eat both kinds of breads? During the Seder, we don't eat chametz, leavened bread. We eat only matzah because that reminds us that we left Egypt in such a hurry that we were unable to bake proper bread, that we just literally threw everything that we could, including the bread that was supposed to be baked, on our backs, and it had no time to rise. So that's the significance of that question. So on this night, on the night of the Seder, we only eat matzah. The second question, Sha'ar yirakot halayla hazeh maror. Maror is the word in Hebrew for bitter herbs, which reminds us of the bitterness of slavery. So the second question is, why on this night do we only eat bitter herbs instead of just all of them? And the answer, of course, is that we want to remember during the Seder the bitterness of the slavery that we endured as the Jewish people. The third question, Shebechol halilot in anu matbilin afilum pa'am echad halayla hazeh shetei fe'amim. This deals with dipping. Lots of you are familiar of the salt water and how we dip. On most nights we dip once. This is talking about why we dip twice, because we put emphasis on the fact that the salt water reminds us of the tears as we wept as being slaves in Egypt. So this is what the third question is about. The fourth and last question is really one of the most intriguing questions, and one of the most important, I think, when you are discussing this with your children, no matter what age. Halayla hazeh, Shebechol halilot anu ochlim bein yoshvin uvein misubim. Halayla hazeh kulanu misubim. This is talking about reclining. Reclining, or chilling, as I would call it, with kids. Why is that so important to us on Passover? You know, when you sit at the table, why is it such a thing to relax when you are eating? And the answer to that question is that relaxing is the sign of freedom. When you're a slave, you don't get to relax. Everything is work, right? Everything is a burden placed upon your shoulders. You don't have time to recline while you eat. So this is really reminding us that we are a free people now. And that is something that I really urge you to emphasize with your children, because freedom is something that we can all discuss. And freedom sounds like an abstract concept to children, but it's really not. It's the freedom of choice. It's the freedom to be who you are, be proud of who you are, not be ashamed of who you are, and of being free to make your own choices. So there's a lot in the 4 questions that you can talk about with your children, even at the kindergarten, 1st grade level. At the 6th, 7th grade level, even beyond, there's a lot of discussion that you can have, especially about freedom today in the world, in the developed world and the undeveloped world. So this is just a little bit of a crash course in the 4 questions. If you have specific questions for me about how you can facilitate a really good discussion with your 6th grader or your 3rd grader or your kindergartner, feel free to email me. But I think the 4 questions is something that's an attainable goal for children of all ages, even if they don't do it perfectly, as long as they know the meaning of why you're having a Seder, why you ask these questions, why you answer them together, and why you tell the story of Passover. You've done your job as a Jewish family. The other thing I wanted to say is that one of the best visual representations of Passover that I have seen in my over, I don't know, 18 years of being in Jewish ed is The Prince of Egypt. It's actually a DreamWorks movie from 97 or 98, I want to say. Yeah, 97. 97 or 98 doesn't matter. But it's a DreamWorks movie. It is available on Hulu. So if you have a Hulu subscription, you can totally watch it. It is appropriate for children of all ages, in my opinion. And in my opinion, it is extremely close to the actual story that is written in the Torah. It has Torah verses in it. When the sea splits, in the movie, they sing the Michamocha. That's also part of the Jewish telling of the story of Passover, not a secular or Christian version. So I really happen to love that. My children are very young, but they seem very interested in it. And I know that I show it to my 6th grade class almost every year, and they have wonderful things to say about it. They love discussing it. They love hearing the Hebrew that's in it. So it's really just another great activity that you can do with your learner. Yes, it is a movie, but it's such a great visual representation that I think it's worth watching as a family together. So that's all I have for you tonight. I will be sending a link. I will be sending an email with links shortly for other Passover resources. There are lots of crafts. There are lots of things that you can do with younger learners. But in essence, the short version of this entire story is that telling the story of Passover, teaching your children to retell the story of Passover, that is an accomplishment, and that should be your goal. It's not to keep kosher. It's not to stress yourself out with planning the perfect Seder and having the perfect food or teaching them, all of the symbols on the Passover Seder plate. It's about the story. So if you do nothing else, tell the story and tell it to your children and tell it more than once. Erev Tov. Have a wonderful night. Stay healthy, stay safe, wash your hands. Try not to touch your face as much as I have during this video. And I will see you soon. Laila Tov.